we have joined today, and maybe there are some people who are still new, but we have shared the notes on our WhatsApp and also via our YouTube channel. And then we hope that you've read the notes and uh, all is well. So one thing that before we start lecture, I need to tell you is that you need to keep on monitoring any communications in our social media platforms, whether it's on WhatsApp or YouTube and other platforms for sharing information. You have to really monitor any academic information so that you should not be left behind. We've learned something on the previous lesson, and briefly, let me briefly summarize it within 2 minutes. We have learned about introduction to business administrations, and we said business is an activity carrying which is carried out with the aim of making profits, and the characteristic of business. We said productions of goods and services, exchange motive. We said regularity and continuity of dealing. Then we talk about the types of business. We talk about two types, which is the industry and commerce. Then we said industry refer to the part of business that deal with productions of goods. And then commerce covered all the community of buying goods and services and then distribution. And now we talk about the form of business. We talk about the sole proprietorship, which is a single ownership business. Then we talk about also the partnership, which is the opposite of sole proprietorship. And then we talk about the merit and demerit of all that uh, uh, partnership and sole proprietorship. So from the last lectures, maybe if someone is having question, you're welcome. Yes, Mr. Marco. Okay, without wasting time, let's move forward. Maybe I will give you opportunity later on. So we are looking today the forms of business organizations. And under forms of business organization, we are talking about joint stock company. So according to you, what's a joint stock company? A joint stock company is a type of business organization where capital is raised by selling shares to the public or private investors. So each share represents a proportion of ownership in the company and the shareholders, which are the owners of the company. And they have right to share the profit among themselves. So what are the features of a joint stock company? Or what are those characteristics of joint stock company? We have limited liability. Uh, this means that they are only responsible for companies' debt up to the amount they keep invested in the shares. So this actually make it more safer for the investment compared to sole proprietorship or partnership. Then we can talk about that transferability of the shares. In a joint stock company, shares are typically being bought and sold easily. You don't need to go through a lot of process because it is the share that can actually be publicly published and also on in terms of the stock exchange. And then we talk about the management structure. A joint stock company usually it's managed by board of director who are elected by the shareholder. Example, we can have Mr. Marco, one of the shareholder, can have Thong, we can have myself and Samuel. And we are the one to sit down in a meeting. Then we need to elect the board of director. Is the shareholders to elect the board of directors. And then when it come to capital raising, uh, the business raise capital through the sale of shares bond. So, like example, if you want to purchase a car and we are not able to do it, we might sell out 1% of the share in the company and raise the capital to purchase cars so that we can sell it out to get profit. So what are actually the advantage of the joint stock company? Of course, one of the advantages is that the liability is very limited. And number two, this in that we reduce the risk of financial loss and also making it more attractive and potential for the investors. Somebody who wanted to invest into that. Then we talk about access to capital, which is really very easy because access to capital will be done through the shares, issuing shares, where joint stock company can raise significant amount of capital from the whole pool of investors, enabling them to fund large projects. Example of what large project I can talk about is a group of a company or the shares will come together to raise capital to do road construction. This is one of uh, the huge business. Then professional management, it's so simple because the team allows the professional manager with specialized skill to run the company, which lead to better decision making and efficiency. You know, when decisions are made by technocrats, somebody who is technical in one or other aspect, it is more easy and more efficient. Example, you wanted to buy some particular items, and that somebody like myself who did business administration, I cannot advise more into the technical aspect, which drug is supposed to be bought. What are the essential drugs in South Sudan? But somebody who did medical can give that advice very well. And then risk diversifications is so easy as we learned last time that business are exposed to risk. And our work is to try to minimize risk in term of uh in term of avoiding it, in term of diverting the risk in other things, and in term of actually if you know you're going to the risk, you cannot do the thing. So in joint stock company risk uh diversification is very easy because a joint stock company are spread across many investors, reducing individual exposure. Now, what are the challenges? Number one of the disadvantages is that bureaucracy in decision making. What do we mean by bureaucracy? Bureaucracy, let me just give an example. Like in an organization, you have you are in officer position, you have the manager, you have the board of directors, you have the president ahead or the top management ahead. So for your advice to reach to the top management, it is really, really very, very hard because it goes through a lot of screening, a lot of interview, a lot of questioning, which means it delays your advice to reach this kind of bureaucracy. This is because the decision, instead of you to make a quick decision, the decision will become so slow And when the decision is slow, they're going to be exporter in terms of losses, and also the approval process is going to be very slow. So it will also avoid the issue of changes or innovations in an organization, because when the top decision makers decide on something, which means you cannot actually change it easily. And then lack of secrecy, especially those that are publicly listed. There are requirements for transparency. They might disclose financial statement, vision, and other significant development to the public and regulator. This leads to lack of secrecy. There are other things in the organization which need to be disclosed out, because when you disclose it out, you will get a lot of things from your competitors. For example, things to do with company strategic plans, things to do with company financial position, things to do with operational issues in the company. You have to make it a very top secret in the company, so that you can uh, avoid uh, you being exposed by your competitors out. We can talk about excess, excessive and costly regulation. Normally, public traded one are subjected to restriction from government authority and also the stock exchange. These regulations are designed to protect investors to maintain market stability, but also they often come with significant loss in terms of legal compliance, audit report requirement, and other government operational burdens. Example, the cost associated with meeting regulatory standard can be high. And let me give an example. If you have a company like who are doing assessment, or you want to publish uh maybe a writing on else, you need to first go and get ethical letter of ethical consideration, I mean to say, from the ministry, to allow you to publicize the information. And this sometimes they go with a lot of costs. And one a business started getting a lot of operational costs, this can limit profitability and discourage smaller company from going public. Lack of partner attentions. In joint stock companies are typically larger and often thousands of millions of stakeholders. Individuals, the stakeholders may not have much influence. Like we talked about bureaucracy before. This leads to lack of personal attention and this connection between the shareholders and actually the management. So we've made small shares, like people who are having 1%, people who are having even 0.5%, might not actually lead to that satisfaction in terms of uh, giving their ideas to the company. So the rate of the things you're going to read from the notes. But after this part, if you have another question, you're welcome. If not, then let's continue. Another form of business organization is multinational company. Just in a layman language, multinational company from its sound it's actually defined as the type of business organization which is globally or which is transnational. They sold good in multiple countries, multiple markets, and the rest. So, what are the characteristics? Number one characteristic is that the companies are just like another company, which are legal, and all other procedures, regulations are being followed by them. They have futures of company. They have international operations and also operate in multitude city of market with varied outlines. They also have large and vast resources. These resources can be in terms of the financial resources, can be in terms of human resource and the rest. What are the methods? One of the methods of the operation is that they use export as one of the methods. So these goods are often sold in local market and in politically unstable country where the fear of losses and assets. For example, we can talk about the spares of motors, which is an agent of the meanest bets. Bends. So example of this export, these are like goods which are being brought from the parents' countries to the local country. The next thing is that they also have an approach of establishment of the factory to the local market and productions of even smaller product locally or exported. So this we can talk about the Coca-Cola company, which is international, but they can also produce in terms of local uh, market, and also they can produce within the country. So what are the advantage? The advantage is actually we have creation of employment. Of course, people are going to be employed more in terms of the local people and the expatriates. The expatriate people who have skills, people who want the skills, they have like a job of loading, offloading, packing goods, and the rest. They are also part of government revenue. Of course, for you to operate in a specific country, you need to pay taxes to the government, and that help government to generate revenue. We talk about the transfer of technology. We talk about the development of infrastructure. Of course, for you to develop in another country, you have to create that conducive environment which will favor your business. When you don't have roads to bring goods to the market, of course, you need to have that road so that you can flow the goods to the market. The foreign exchange gap is bridge. Example, if you have a company who are injecting a lot of dollars in the market and which is controlled, you will see that the gap between the SSP and also the USD is really bridge. So in other countries, getting a single dollar is a problem. This is because that gap is wider. So we talk about industrialization, which is the process of actually putting in an industry in the country. So when this multinational company are coming in the country, of course, they will set up industries in the country, and this industry will help them to produce good. And through these industries, also the citizens or the other nationals are also going to be employed in the country. Up to this part, do we have any question? Okay, one of let's go to the disadvantage. One of the disadvantage of multinational corporation is that environmental degradations. We talked about the oil exploration or the oil mining in South Sudan, which is causing a lot of environmental problem. This is when the environmental assessment is not done very well, because for them they operate in a very large uh, environment where their main aim is to make profit. So if you go to Capoeira now, the gold mining is another problem. So it's causing a lot of issues. Then we talk about the smaller companies are driven out of the market. Let me give an example. Example, you're producing soda and you are competing with Coca-Cola company. And for them, they are multi-million company with they are international and their taste it's international and they can localize their taste according to the preference of the country. And they have a lot of loyal customer. Will you still stand in the market? Of course, you who is small, you can just be driven away of the market. Erosion of economics independency. Of course, we talk about property repatriations. That is one of them, whereby they will work in this country, but at the end of the day, they repatriate all the profit to their country, leaving you to be so dependent. Because in a country, you really need to be economically independent for you to control your market, for you to be stable. Wow. It can also lead to political instability. And also we talk about capital repatriation, which we have explained. They also encourage expatriate, which means expatriate actually will lead to unemployment to the local employers. This is mainly when it is not regulated with the labor law and the rate. So up to this far, is anyone having question, or I can have questions so that we can answer, or somebody having comment?